way to Costco to get eggs. Well, actually, to see if I can afford eggs. Yesterday, Mom and I were out running some errands, and the main errand was to go to Costco to get eggs and other stuff, but mostly eggs. And when I got to the parking lot, it reminded me of lockdown. It was so crowded, there was not an available parking space. So I decided to leave because there were already people waiting for any potential parking space. And it reminded me of the lockdown, and when you had to get out there early because you had to get online, you had to be 6 feet in distance apart, in addition to them only allowing certain amount of persons in the building at a time. So I decided I'd go back today, and I wanted to get there when it opens because I don't feel like making this a half day thing, because it's Super Bowl Sunday. I got to get home and cook my dinner early and all these things. Anyway, I wanted to talk about boundaries and how some view them as a negative when in actuality it's good. It's a good thing. I feel like it all depends on how you receive it, because everyone should have boundaries. Just like how when you have your home and you put up a fence, no matter what kind of fence, even if it's shrubs, you put up a fence so that you can mark the clear lines of this is your property and this is my property. So this way we can live in harmony. And similarly with humans, we should have boundaries, or at least we should be okay with having boundaries, so that we can establish an understanding of how we, or of the things that we will expect and receive. I remember years ago, someone said to me, it was a cousin actually, that I have too many boundaries. And I'm like, and I was like, huh? Because at the time I didn't understand myself much, and I didn't understand life really. So I was very much green in my journey. And I thought to myself, at the time, I remember thinking to myself, but there must be rules, right? Because there was some, like just some drama in the family. And I was like, I didn't feel like basically putting myself out there to be hurt by anyone. I don't care who you are. I'm the type of person that I'll just withdraw myself because I don't like to talk much. I don't like to argue. I don't like to allow anybody to raise my blood pressure. I like it to be the normal low that it is. Anyway, I was watching a video yesterday, and the message was about teaching people how to treat you, and which is something that I have embraced and learned how to do, because it's important. I remember when I was a manager and there was a situation, and I remember telling my staff that if there's an issue and if you do not speak up about it, then it cannot be addressed. It's kind of like if somebody steps on your toe and if you just say ouch to yourself, if you don't let the person know that it hurts, trust and believe it can be repeated. To be continued. I'm about to go inside the Costco before it gets crowded. Okay, I'm here early enough. There are cars in the parking lot, but it was not as crowded as yesterday, because when I looked inside yesterday, there was a bunch of people like right here by the entrance. You couldn't even get in. So I was like, let me come back. So I'm glad I did. Mission accomplished. I'm on my way home, and I have eggs. So I'm glad that I went as early as I did, because it wasn't as crowded as I'm sure it will be in a little while. to get some to look for some squash. Excuse me. Mom separated to go, and she came back with pineapple or something, and she was hysterical laughing. I didn't know what she was laughing at, and I didn't inquire. But she would stop, and then she would just start laughing again. You know that laugh when you think about something that tickles you. You know, those inside jokes. And then, you know, she said to me, "You better go get your egg." And I'm like, you know, because I was making my way down to there. But then I realized that a lot of people came in and just made a beeline to get eggs because that's all they had in their cart. So I guess they went to get their eggs first before they began to shop. And I was like, it's okay, you know, I said, it's okay, I'll get there. But then when I saw like every cart had eggs already, I was like, yeah, let me just go. That's why she was cracking up. We came out of Costco and she was still cracking up because eggs. You know, it reminds me of the pandemic when it was tissue paper and it was very scarce. And when you did find it, it was very expensive. These eggs are very expensive. I haven't had eggs in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. I have a few at home, but I decided that I was rationing myself because I didn't know what to expect when it was time to go to Costco to shop. Anyway, I'm glad I got it out the way. I think I got enough for about a month. I'm going to be very mindful with my consumption because I'm not trying to pay mortgage for groceries anymore. I think it's ridiculous that groceries are so high, but it is what it is. We either go with the flow or starve, and I ain't trying to starve. I love food. Anyway, back to boundaries. So boundaries are, in my opinion, for self-care. Because if you do not let someone know how to treat you or what to expect, and it should go both ways. There should be an understanding of what we like, what we don't like, you know, so that we can foster a healthy relationship. Because I think that what happens is people, we don't take the time to get to know and understand each other. We basically jump into friendships without truly knowing and understanding each other. Excuse me. And when we do start to learn about each other's ways, we get annoyed. We get so annoyed by their laugh. It's kind of like you know, Kendrick Lamar and Drake in the song where he says, "I hate the way that you dress, the way that you talk, the way that you look, the way that you laugh. I hate everything about you." And I feel like, you know, if we set certain boundaries, you know, it will alleviate that. Because at the end of the day, if you set certain boundaries, if you create your boundaries, you can identify certain things in the beginning of a friendship, situationship, whatever you want to call it, so that you can just eliminate people from the beginning. Because there's too much fun to be had in life, and I swear, like right now, I'm truly enjoying this chapter alone. I'm the type of person who, if something annoys me or if someone offends me, I usually just get quiet and I don't say anything. And to a degree, it still remains that way, but I'm more comfortable with it because sometimes some conversations are just not worth having. Sometimes I prefer to not engage because then if you do, then it can turn into full-on war, and I don't like war. So I just stay quiet. Staying quiet annoys the shit out of people, but I mean, staying quiet brings me peace. And that's my goal, is to bring myself peace. So yeah. You know, boundaries are not meant to isolate people. Boundaries are simply just to establish certain rules. Okay, person, so this person decides to be in the wrong lane trying to turn, and now just holding up all of the traffic. So selfish, I tell you. I don't do road rage. I'm that patient, carry on because I need to live to see another day. I ain't trying to act crazy because somebody decided that they forgot how to drive or that they're not the only ones on the road. But anyway, yeah. Do you have boundaries? Like, have you established boundaries? Are you at a space in your life now where you are trying to just lay down rules? I think sometimes when we set boundaries, we start to lose people, because when we start to identify in ourselves what brings us joy and what allows our peace to remain in happiness, then you realize that certain people, places or things, because it could be, a place like work, things could be, a neighbor who decides that they want to play their music loudly at 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it could be anything. So for me, like, I just try to just be even keeled, loving, knowing and understanding myself a little bit better, because this time last year I was still confused about who I was and what I liked. I mean, I knew some things, but this year I'm more focused on that. I'm more focused on protecting my peace and just enjoying my space. And it's crazy because on Friday, I usually don't go to the office on Fridays, but I went this week because I didn't go in on Tuesday, and I decided to go out. I wanted to basically do like my little lunchtime. I think I call it midday mood. And so I basically do a little dance and I post it on social media. And for the life of me, I couldn't get the darn thing to record properly because the lighting was just off. Because, sometimes the camera, the phone just looked like it was too much light. So it was fading. It was weird because I wanted to get the New York skyline. So I kept moving around, and at this point I was late getting back from my lunch, but I didn't care. I really did not care. And when I finally got it to work, I had to go outside, and I got it to work, and I did my little dance, and I was so happy. And I thought to myself, wow, months ago I wouldn't have dared done that because I'd be too concerned about who's watching me and all that. And then when I finished, I thought to myself, no one cares. I think sometimes we spend so much time concerned about being seen. Oh, they're watching me, when the reality is no one cares. Everybody's basically doing their own thing, trying to figure out. So everybody's busy trying to figure out their own thing, what they're doing, and basically like just living their life. So I'm learning how to be that way, not be too concerned about who is seeing me and what they're thinking, because I don't care. Like what I'm concerned about is my happiness and my peace. And doing these little dances in public, it's helping me to become more comfortable overall. So yeah, boundaries. Figure out what your boundaries are and implement them. Just know that being an introvert is difficult because we're already judged, we're already misunderstood. But be okay with that, because some people are committed to not understanding introverts. Some people are just committed to just being miserable and bitter. So don't focus on that. Focus on your happiness, your journey, and just living. Learn how to live on purpose every day, especially in this crazy world that we're living in right now. There's just so much. I think there's an oversaturation of information about what's going on with the government, and it's sickening because YouTube is my escape, but I turn it on now and there's just feed about this and that and the other. reality of it is there's nothing that I can do watching any. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still watch, right? I still watch because some of it is comical, but there's nothing that we at our level can do to stop any of what is happening. I just feel like all of that could have been prevented if things were done previously, but at the end of the day, everything is what it's meant to be. Everything that's happening is meant to happen, and it's meant to happen now. All you can do is protect yourself. Again, boundaries. Set your boundaries and just live on purpose every day. Anyway, I'm back home. Gonna go unload this car, go have me some tea and a quick bite. Prepare to cook my dinner early so that I can be nice and ready for the halftime show. See you in the next one. Happy Sunday.